He warns you that staying true to yourself can be the thing that costs you the most. It would have been easier to go along, easier to bend just this once, just enough so that no one would notice. Easier to say the words everyone else was saying, even if they didn't mean anything to you. Nobody would have blamed him. Not really. Everyone else in the kingdom did exactly that. They bowed, they signed, and they went along to stay safe. But Daniel didn't. And staying true to who he was, the same faithful man he had always been, behind closed doors, yet in front of everyone. That is what put him in the den. Tonight, I want to sit with you in that cost, because you might know exactly what it feels like to stay true to yourself, when it would have been so much easier not to. Come on in, let your body settle, and let your shoulders drop. My name is Joanne. This is Sleep for the Anxious Soul. It's a quiet place where scripture meets you in the dark. Tonight's story is based on Daniel, a man who kept his integrity in a place that didn't want him to. Let's walk through it together, gently, and then rest in what it means for you. Before we go any further, if you have ever laid here at night with your mind so busy, so loud, and too loud to pray, I have made something exactly for you, exactly for that. It's a gentle prayer guide, and it's only $7, built for nights when you can't find the words yourself. You'll find the link in the description, or you can search Gentle Sleep Prayer Guide on PayHip, or you can go to payhip.com/sleepprayer. Okay, let's go to Babylon. Daniel was living in a kingdom that wasn't his own. A foreigner in Babylon, far from everything familiar. And yet he had risen. Not by scheming and not by playing politics, but simply because he was faithful and wise in everything he touched. The king noticed, and he planned to set Daniel over the entire empire, above every other official in the kingdom. And that made him a target. The other officials went looking for a reason to bring him down. They watched him. They studied his records, his decisions, and his conduct. But they could find nothing. Not one flaw. Not one mistake. So they went after the only thing left. The one thing Daniel would not compromise on. his faith. The king came to the king with flattery and a plan disguised as honor, a law that for 30 days no one in the kingdom could pray to anyone, God or man, except the king himself. Anyone who broke it would be thrown into a den of lions. The king was flattered, so he signed it into law. And once signed, it couldn't be changed, not even by him. Daniel, he heard about the law, and he knew exactly what it meant. He knew the officials had written it with his name in mind. And still, he went home. He climbed the stairs to his upper room, the same room he prayed in every day. He opened the window, the one that faced Jerusalem, toward the home he hadn't seen in years, and he got down on his knees. Not the first time that week, not in secret, hidden from view, the same way he had always done. 3 times a day, in the open, in the same window, where anyone walking by could see him if they looked up. He didn't pray louder that day to make a statement. He didn't pray quieter to stay hidden. He just prayed the same as always. They were watching. Of course they were. Daniel was caught, reported, and brought before the king. The king, when he heard, was deeply troubled. He really liked Daniel. He respected him. He spent the rest of that day trying to find some way around his own law. But a king's decree, once sealed, could not be undone, not even by the one who signed it. So as the sun went down, Daniel was led to the den. Picture it, a pit cut into the stone, dark even in daylight. The low sound of breathing, of movement just beneath where you'd stand at the edge. He was lowered in, and a great stone was rolled across the entrance to seal it. The king pressed his own signet into the wax, so no one, not even himself, could open it before morning. The king went back to his palace that night. He couldn't eat. He couldn't be entertained. He couldn't sleep. He lay awake all night, thinking of the man he had sentenced to something he never wanted for him. But in the den, in that dark, surrounded by animals that could have ended his life in seconds, Daniel rested. At the first light of dawn, the king ran to the den himself, breathless and desperate. He called down into the dark, "Daniel, servant of the living God, was your God whom you serve so faithfully able to save you?" And from below, a voice answered, "My God sent his angel and shut the lions' mouths, and they have not hurt me." Not a scratch, not a mark, not a single wound on him. They pulled him up out of the pit. There wasn't so much as a scratch, because he had trusted in his God. The men who had plotted against him faced the consequences of their own scheme. And the king, the same king who once signed a law forbidding prayer to anyone but himself, sent out a new decree to every nation, every people, and every language in his kingdom. A decree that they should tremble and fear the God of Daniel. A God who rescues, a God who shuts mouths that were made to devour. A God who was in that den long before Daniel ever was. I want you to sit for a second on what Daniel didn't do in that den. He didn't bargain with God, didn't demand an explanation for why this was happening to him. The one man in that kingdom who'd done nothing wrong. He didn't spend the night proving his case to the lions, or to God, or to himself. He just trusted. Not because he knew for certain he'd survive until morning. He didn't know that. He could not have known that. He trusted because he knew who God was, regardless of what the night held. That's a different kind of trust than the kind that says, "I'll believe once I see how this turns out." That's trust that says, "I'll believe you even when you're good, even here, even now, even if the lions don't stay closed-mouthed. I'll believe you." And that's the trust that was already settled in him before the stone ever rolled across that entrance. So when deliverance came, when the angel shut those mouths, when morning broke, light over an unmarked, unharmed Daniel, it wasn't a reward for good performance. It was God meeting a trust that was already there. That's worth sitting with tonight, because deliverance doesn't always look the way we picture it. Sometimes it's the lions never moving. Sometimes it's waking up in the morning and realizing you made it through a night you didn't think you'd survive. Daniel's deliverance wasn't just that he lived. It was that he lived unafraid, resting in a den that should have terrified him, because his trust wasn't in the odds. It was in the one who controls them. Here's what I want you to notice. Daniel didn't pray louder to prove a point. He didn't pray in secret to stay safe. He just kept doing what he'd always done, quietly faithful, even when it cost him something. That is the loneliness I mentioned earlier. Being the only one in the room who won't sign the paper. Being the only one still praying when everyone else has stopped. Maybe for you, it doesn't look like a den of lions. Maybe it looks like being the only one in your family still trying to do the right thing. Or the only one in your circle who won't gossip, won't cut corners, won't pretend to agree just to keep the pace. Maybe it's smaller than even that. Maybe it's just staying kind when it would be easier to get hard. Staying honest when a small lie would smooth everything over. Staying you when being someone else would cost so much less. Nobody claps for that kind of faithfulness. Nobody throws you a party for staying the same person you were yesterday. But here's the thing Daniel knew that made him brave enough to kneel by that window anyway. He wasn't actually alone in that room. God was there before he got down on his knees. That's what staying true to yourself is actually built on. It's not stubbornness or trying to prove a point. It's knowing someone is watching who was there before anyone else walked in, and will still be there after everyone else has walked out. You might feel like the only one holding on to what you even believe right now. The only one who won't bend, won't compromise, won't go along just to make things easier. You're not as alone in that as it feels. The same God who shut the lion's mouth is in the room with you tonight. Even when it's dark, even when the stone feels sealed over your situation. He hasn't forgotten you. He never left the den, and he hasn't left yours either. If tonight's story stirred something in you, I write a weekly blessing for people walking through exactly these kinds of seasons, feeling isolated for standing firm. You can join that list, it's free, and the link's in the description. Father, for the one listening tonight who feels alone in what they believe, remind them you're in the room. For the one who's tired of standing firm when it feels like no one else is standing with them, let them feel your presence, O Lord, the way Daniel did, quiet and steady, closer than the dark around them. Give them Daniel's kind of trust tonight. not the kind that needs to see the whole night through before its rest, but the kind that lets the body grow heavy, let the shoulders finally drop, lets the mind stop keeping watch because you are keeping watch instead. Shut whatever mouths are meant to harm them tonight. And Jesus, quiet whatever fear is pacing at the edge of their thoughts. Let their breathing slow. Let their body sink into the mattress. Let sleep come the way it came for Daniel in that den. Deep, undisturbed, and safe. And let them wake up whole. In Jesus' name, amen. Good night. Sleep well. You are safe. And you are kissed good night.